Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a crime that's pretty much as old as money itself, but it's always finding new tricks. We're talking about money laundering. And this isn't just about some shady deal in a back alley. No, this is a global industry worth trillions that props up criminal empires and can even shake up entire economies. So let's just start with a number that's almost impossible to wrap your head around. Trillions. That's the estimated amount of dirty money sloshing around the global financial system every single year. So how in the world do criminals take cash from, the darkest corners of the underworld and make it look as squeaky clean as a brand new dollar bill? Well, that's the huge question we're tackling today.
All right, before we get into the really wild stuff, let's make sure we're all on the same page. When we say money laundering, what are we actually talking about?
Honestly, it's pretty much what it sounds like, taking dirty money and washing it until it looks clean. Think about the profits from a drug cartel or the payout from a massive cyber scam. You can't just walk into a bank and deposit millions in cash, right? So criminals use this whole process to disguise where the money came from, turning it into legitimate-looking funds that can be spent or invested without raising any red flags. So what's the actual recipe for this? How do you turn illegal cash into clean assets? Well, it's not just one magic trick. It's actually a surprisingly methodical three-step process that criminals have basically perfected over the years. Okay, so here it is, the classic laundering cycle. It all starts with step one, placement. This is the risky part, getting that physical, illegal cash into the financial system somehow without setting off alarms. Then comes the real art form, layering. This is where the money is sent on a wild goose chase through this crazy maze of transactions, shell companies, offshore accounts, you name it. The entire goal is just to make the money trail so confusing that nobody could possibly follow it. And finally, you have integration. The now clean money comes back into the legitimate economy, ready to be used to buy things like mansions, yachts, businesses, whatever. We've all seen this play out in movies and on TV, right? But how much of that Hollywood drama is actually, true to life? Let's take a look at a pretty popular example to see what they get right. If you've seen Ozark, you probably remember Jonah Byrde and his little side hustle. Now, obviously it's fiction, but it's actually a pretty great way to understand the launderer's mindset. What Jonah did was basically become a mini bank for other criminals. He used a whole cocktail of fake IDs, shell accounts, and crypto wallets to just create this tangled web of transactions. This is a perfect, if dramatized, example of that layering stage we just talked about. See, it's not really about hiding the money. It's about making it impossible to trace. But, as entertaining as a show like Ozark is, the real world of money laundering is so much bigger, so much more audacious. It's almost hard to believe. So let's look at some real-life examples that honestly make Hollywood look tame. Take a look at this number, $230 billion. That is how much dirty money was funneled through just one branch of one European bank. And this wasn't just some rogue employee. It was a massive systemic failure that went on for years. It just goes to show you how deep this problem can run in our global financial system. So what are the go-to methods for launderers today? Well, big banks are still a major route, with cartels using them to move billions across borders. The high-end art world is another favorite playground where you can buy a multi-million-dollar painting with 30 cash, sell it at a fancy auction, and boom, the profits are now perfectly clean. And then, of course, you have the wild west of crypto, where digital currencies can be bounced around the globe in seconds, leaving a trail that is incredibly difficult to trace. Okay, so you might be sitting there thinking, this is all happening in these, shadows of high finance and crypto. Why should I really care? Well, the truth is, the shockwaves from this criminal underworld absolutely reach all of us. So what is the real cost of all this financial trickery? Why is this so much more than just a crime for rich people? The reality is, clean money is the lifeblood of crime. It's what lets drug cartels expand their operations, what allows terrorists to fund their attacks, and what helps corrupt officials just line their own pockets. Every single dollar that is successfully laundered fuels violence and instability around the world. It erodes trust in our entire financial system, and frankly, it makes the world a more dangerous place for everybody. But this isn't just a one-way street. For every criminal trying to cover their tracks, there's a whole team of investigators working tirelessly to uncover them. So let's see how the good guys are fighting back. I mean, how do you catch a ghost? In this high-stakes game of cat and mouse, how do authorities even begin to find that tiny needle of dirty money in the massive haystack of the global economy? Well, in a word, data. Banks are now on the front lines, using sophisticated AI and machine learning to spot red flags in real time. A sudden massive cash deposit out of nowhere, a flurry of transactions to and from high-risk countries. These are the digital breadcrumbs that can lead investigators right to the criminals. And whenever a bank spots something suspicious, they are legally required to report it. That creates this global intelligence network, all dedicated to shutting these illegal financial flows down.
So where do we go from here? The world of money laundering is always changing. Today's cutting-edge technique is tomorrow's old news. And as we move deeper and deeper into a digital world, the opportunities for criminals to hide their money are only going to multiply, which it leads us to a pretty chilling final thought. Is the next massive Danske Bank level scandal already happening right now, not in a bank vault, but in the ones and zeros of the digital world? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.